Whatever the investigations and the criminal referrals bring, the January 6th committee pulled off something really difficult. It took an incredibly complex investigation and told a clear, urgent story to the American public, with frequent revelations and gripping first-person accounts and powerful video montages showing how the president's words may have incited the mob. The committee's presentations were so powerful that the New York Times included the hearings in its roundup of the year's best TV shows. Quote, deploying deft editing, story structure, graphics, suspense, social media, virality, and yes, a touch of showmanship, the hearings made a public service into the show of the summer and the most important TV of the year. Democrats found a powerful way to tell the story of our democracy under threat. Now they're using a similar approach to tell another urgent story, wealth inequality in America. Earlier this month, the bipartisan House Select Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth put out its final report, a 198-page tome with lots of recommendations, including expanding universal pre-K and making community college free. As the report concludes, today, income and wealth inequality is higher in the U.S. than nearly any other developed nation, and it's getting worse. Well, we knew that, right? What's another committee report going to do about it? Which is why the House panel did something Congress has never done. It produced a documentary. Titled Grit and Grace, The Fight for the American Dream, the first of its kind 30-minute film showcases the stories of 3 Americans struggling to achieve economic security, with narration from Emmy Award-winning actress Sarah Jessica Parker.
It's a wake-up call about economics. I can't go back to college, and I loved it.
It was like $20 or $30 per day. And then I have to use this money again to buy my ingredients and cook again. And so I realized that I have to be educated.
With the boys, they were diagnosed right around 3 years of age with severe autism. We built our shop on the back of our house because of our boys. We can't work normal jobs because of their care.
As the committee's final public act, they held a screening of the film at the National Archives last week. The event featured the film's subjects who shared their stories in the hope that it will humanize wealth inequality in America in a new way.
It was nerve-wracking because you realize it made you analyze your life in a certain way. And it made me really reflect in a way that was meaningful. And so I appreciated the journey.
All compelling stuff, no doubt. But the panel's work is ending because Republicans are taking over the House. So what will really be the impact of this new form of congressional storytelling? And how will Democrats fight wealth inequality in a divided House over the next 2 years? My next guest knows better than most how to explain complicated issues to the American people. California Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter has become famous for her trusty whiteboard, which she uses in hearings to explain things like drug pricing and CEO pay. And Congressman Katie Porter joins me now. Hello, Congresswoman.
Hello, Melissa.
How are you? One big question here. Why a documentary on wealth inequality and Americans struggling? We know it's happening. We are living it. What does a 30-minute, slickly produced video tell us that a 200-page investigative report cannot?
I think there are 2 pieces to this. One is the focus on inequality. And I think there it's really important that we look at how people are doing in their real lives. There's a lot of shame around poverty, around struggling, around debt, and survey after survey, all of the research I did before I ran for Congress shows that. People are uncomfortable revealing just how difficult it is to make a living and to build financial security in today's world. And so they don't necessarily come forward with these stories. And so I think that's where the documentary comes in, which is a way to highlight them, to put them in front of us. A lot of us tell ourselves, or the American kind of myth is that, you get what you deserve. Well, what does that mean when we're having widening inequality and fewer people are able to get a toehold and hang on in the middle class? And so I think putting this film out also sparks discussion about just what our expectations are for our economy and what our expectations are that Congress will do something to improve it.
So I love the idea of normalizing class struggle and making clear that this is not a moral failing, but part of a sort of systemic problem. But this is a very high production value effort. This wasn't cheap to produce. Is there an irony in Congress using taxpayer money to make a film to highlight the problems of wealth and income inequality in America?
Well, as somebody who makes do with a $3 whiteboard and an expo marker, this is definitely a different budget kind of production than what I've done in hearings. But I do think that whether we agree or disagree on kind of the production and the amount of expense that went into this, I do want to salute the committee for thinking about and recognizing the reality that the American people do not have hours and hours to read a 200-page report. We saw this with the Mueller report. Congress people saying, well, the problem is my constituents haven't read the Mueller report. Baloney. The problem is that you haven't clearly been able to explain the key findings of the Mueller report to your constituents. People are trying to get their kids to school. People are trying to take their medication, get to doctors, get to work on time, juggle 2 jobs in many cases. How do we make something that captures them and draws them in and connects with them in a way that they have time for and that they find meaningful? And I think audiovisual things like this film can be an important part of that.
Well, you've certainly made it an art form in Congress, and it's nice to see your colleagues building on it. Let me change the topic briefly. Last week, you had to deal with right-wing activists on Twitter sharing a misleadingly edited clip of you talking about LGBTQ plus users of Twitter. The Intercept reports that the misleading video reached millions of people. How concerned are you about the state of Twitter as a platform today and efforts to sort of moderate content on that site?
Well, I will say that the misleading characterizations, the misstatements were flagged on Twitter and all the other major platforms as false and as misleading. So the process where users can put in and flag for the system did work. But, I think in a world where Congress and government officials are struggling to connect with Americans, to get their attention, to engage them about what's going on in Washington, the last thing we need is these kinds of distortions, these kinds of gross lies and mischaracterizations, because what they do is interrupt the trust between elected officials and their constituents. And my biggest challenge is making sure that I'm communicating back to my constituents what's happening in Washington and that they're telling me what messages they need me to take to Washington. And that process gets harder when social media is one tool for that process, and it gets harder and more difficult when these social media platforms are hijacked by people using them for political gain or simply to engage in false speech.
So finally, I have you here, and we are talking about accountability. I have to ask you about the January 6th committee's criminal referrals today. It has dominated the news. I'm sure it's all anyone is talking about in the halls of Congress. Is there anything there that surprised you today? Were there charges that perhaps you were expecting that weren't recommended? And what do you think Attorney General Merrick Garland is going to do with these criminal referrals now that this has been given over to the DOJ?
Well, our Department of Justice operates with integrity under Attorney General Garland, so I am sure that the dedicated professionals will review the charges and make a decision about whether or not to pursue them, review the referral, and make a decision about whether or not to pursue charges. That's their job, and I trust the Department of Justice to do it. Personally, I think it's difficult as someone who's getting ready to take part in a new Congress, a Republican-led, Republican majority House, to hear again, to be reminded and to be shown really powerfully that the evidence shows that members of Congress themselves are not always working in this country's best interests, are not always protecting our democracy. So, I think the referral against others is important. But for me personally, it's difficult to think about going back and getting sworn in to a body that's led by people who don't necessarily see their oath to the Constitution, aren't willing to obey their oath to uphold and defend our democracy.
So, Congresswoman Porter, do you think that these ethics referrals will actually bring about some accountability for those members of Congress, or will this simply be swept under the rug by this new Republican leadership?
Well, I think within Congress, the House Ethics Committee is completely bipartisan. But one of the challenges with the House, so it typically does hold people in both parties accountable, regardless of who's in leadership. That committee, the House Ethics Committee, is structured differently than other committees. It doesn't have that kind of majority-minority feel. It's more truly even-handed and bipartisan. But one of the problems with the House Ethics Committee is one of the problems with the January 6th Commission, which is this has all taken years. And so I think one of the things we often see when ethics referrals are made is members simply run out the clock. It takes a year or two. By then, they're not running for re-election. They're able to find a way to exit without having that accountability delivered for them. So while I'm happy with the referrals and I'm glad the committee did such great work, it's hard to have waited 2 years for these answers.